What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 122 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series. Today was another part 2 episode with my good friend and collaborator, Jay Foster. He's an R&B artist, originally from Chicago. He actually moved to LA over the past 4 months. He got a job in sync licensing and doing some publishing work as well. He talked about that experience of just moving to new territory to make connections in the industry, both as an artist and for work. And I'm really, happy to hear that he's doing his thing, because last time on the first episode, he talked at the end about wanting to be in that space, and I'm glad to see him having a lot of success. And we also talked about, his work as an artist as well. The last time that we did an episode, we had not collaborated, but we actually did the song Talk to Me, which was on his Me and You EP, and he talked about, where he was at creatively at that time and what inspired him to make that EP, as well as Blessings, the song that came out shortly after, and what he's been doing, writing and recording and collaborating with a lot of different people working on his new music. And obviously, I'm always happy to talk to Jeremy, and I'm always happy to, be around to see his success. I'm looking forward to collaborating with him more again soon. Really hope you guys enjoyed this one. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome everyone to episode 122 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creators Series, and today we have another part 2 episode, welcoming back a guest from 2020. He's originally out of Chicago, R&B artist, great collaborator of mine. Last time we talked, we didn't even have a collaboration, but we have a great song out now called Talk to Me. Jay Foster, welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Yo, thanks for having me back, bro. I am good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. And like I said, I'm just glad to reconnect with you. And I know it's been a while since we did this. And, just to kind of refresh people's memory, if they didn't hear that first episode and maybe they haven't heard of you before, just kind of give a refresh, who are you? What do you do? Kind of just the basics for those that might not know you and what you do.
For sure. So I'll go ahead and just kind of reintroduce myself for those who don't know. I'm an R&B pop singer-songwriter from Chicago. I go by the name of Jay Foster. Man, I've been making music for a little bit now. So since like 12, 13, writing songs, stuff like that. Man, like I said, I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter, and I know we're gonna probably get more into it, mm-hmm. But I'm recently getting into some other things as well, so I'm excited to let you guys in more on that. And man, that's me.
Yeah,
that's
man,
me.
Love it.
Sorry.
And while that first episode was mostly about like your origins and everything, this one's kind of going to be like an update, what you been up to the last couple of years. And we just talked before we started recording about your move to LA from Chicago. So kind of give the people a rundown about what that's all about. Like, is it for connections, for work purposes, a little bit of both? Like, what was the ultimate decision to move out there?
Man, for sure. Yeah. So it was a little bit of everything, man. It was for music, for connections, for work. Now I'm like working in the industry now. So that's mm-hmm. something that's new, that I'm still getting used to. I'm working in sync licensing. So that's like my day job, and I'm still doing like my artist stuff as well on the side, my songwriting stuff. But man, I came out here, just overall to like give myself more opportunity to meet the right people, to connect with other people, to build more of a community, and to really, just take the music thing to the next level.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's super awesome too, because like I said before we even started recording, it was like kind of like a culture shock, probably because there is so many different people to connect with out there. I feel like you walk down the block and you meet like a fellow musician or an actor or somebody that has connections with someone. So you're just like, you could always meet people just face to face. Because I know like if you're from a lot of other places, even bigger cities, it might not always be that way where you see people just every single day that you can benefit from, and they can benefit from you just knowing that person. So I feel like LA is one of the biggest melting pots for that. So it kind of sounds like that's been the case for you as well, just kind of being able to find yourself a little bit more and have that career opportunity as well in sync. Because I remember the last time that we talked about, you had your song that was in the Nashville show, and that was like your first sync and everything. And So did that kind of like lead you into wanting to work on that side of things? Because sync is obviously like a very distinct world where, the briefs are very specific. The projects are very, to the T, like they need certain types of music. So like, was it just the background of already having a song placed that made you say, you wanted to kind of figure that whole thing out and get into that line of work then?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that kind of like sparked the idea, um, and yeah, it was a lot of like research that went into it, and just trying to obviously just I was more fascinated to learn more about sync and like from the business perspective of it, and not just from like the creator side.
Mm-hmm.
So then I, over time realized like, oh man, I could actually, work on the business side, work in sync and, help other artists, other creators get placements in sync and stuff like that. So, yeah, in a funny way, it's like just being on the opposite end of the spectrum. So, but yeah, I think when I got that placement, it just really, opened me up to a whole nother like perspective of the music industry and how you go about getting your music out there and like what's the best route for me to take to ultimately, work in the industry, but still be able to continue to push my artist career forward as well.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of it too. It was like kind of like reverse engineer it, like, hey, like, how do you get in the room with this person, or how do you, connect with this person? Like maybe working, in the industry helps as well. So kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and it gives you that different perspective too, because I feel like if you only saw it from one side, you wouldn't understand like how it all comes together at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it's like you almost want to have both sides kind of working together, and then later on down the line, I think that's only going to benefit you in every single way. And I actually talked to someone a couple of weeks ago. Their whole thing was like they were going to build up their own catalog and then feed it through sync and just kind of have everything work as an ecosystem. So that's also something I think that is going to work for you as well, especially knowing how to kind of get your music to the right people. It's like all that's going to come back over time. So I think that's definitely a great thing. I know in your Instagram right now it says that you're a music researcher for Audio Network. So like, what does that entail? Like, what is that on a day to day? Like, what do they have you doing kind of on the daily for that job and for that position?
For sure, yeah. So yeah, basically, like in a nutshell, what I do as a music researcher for Audio Network is I work on the creative team specifically, and basically we, deal with clients on a day-to-day basis, in terms of like communicating with them on whatever they need, different inquiries they might have, and mostly like just doing searches for them. So like if they basically, for example, like if Nike or a company like that is reaching out to us to, they're looking for a specific type of song to fit a commercial or, something like that, then, what we do is on the creative team, we're, going through our catalog of music that we have in our library, and we're like pitching it to Nike, you know what I mean? And just saying like, hey, like, here's what I put together. Like, here's a few tracks I think will work based on the brief you sent me. I think this would fit really well with what you got going on. And a really cool thing about Audio Network is everything in their library is like custom made. So like basically all the artists and composers and producers they work with, everything is created from scratch.
Yeah.
Like they, you know what I mean? They don't take any like pre-recorded tracks from these artists. Like once they decide who they want to work with and they go through that whole process of onboarding and all that, then we have a music team and A&R team that works with the composers and the artists to basically help create what they think is best, and for the market and what's sync friendly and all that. So yeah, man, we just got a great catalog of music that's real diverse, and we just pitch music on a day-to-day basis with all the different companies and brands that we're partnered with. So it's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It sounds like that's more of like an exclusive library then, as opposed to like the non-exclusive ones. Because I know that because for those that don't know, like sync, there's exclusive libraries where you can kind of only pitch to like one thing at a time, and it kind of just goes until it runs out. And then non-exclusive is kind of like you could pitch the same song to multiple outlets at a time
Right.
and have different contracts going all at once. So it kind of sounds like that's more of like an exclusive thing, and it's kind of good for them as well to have their own team, because I think you can keep very like concise business practices going with that method. I think it gets kind of like dicey when you're trying to bring in other people and work on their terms as well, and kind of have everybody meet in the middle. It's like that might tie everything up, in the long run. So I think that's good that they kind of have a system going. I've never actually checked them out, so I might have to go and see like what their library looks like and what they're doing. And it sounds like they're doing a lot of cool stuff though. So I want to just say congrats on that, man, because that's a great endeavor for you, and it sounds like it's working out very well for you. So just keep up the good work on that.
Man, thank you so much, man. For real, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's super cool, man. It's like new. It's like I never thought I'd be on this side of the spectrum, So definitely grateful for the experience. It's a blessing. Yeah, so I'm excited, man, just to see where this journey goes, and and just see how I apply it to my artist career as well.
Yeah, exactly. And transitioning to your artist career as well, I want to take it back a little bit to the beginning of 2021 when you did the Me and You EP. Talk about what that process was like, because we didn't, obviously when we did the first episode you hadn't even released that EP yet. So kind of just take me back to like around that time, what went into putting those 3 songs out and kind of just doing like the visuals for it, and what were you feeling at that time musically as an artist?
Oh man, for sure, man. Yeah, that was a nice time, man. That was a good time. Yeah, man. I was just in a really good creative space, and I was kind of like rebranding my sound, I'd say. So I was just really trying to explore just like a different sound, I guess, maybe a little more edgier sound, but really just experimenting and trying something new, I would say. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, it was just great. I think the project came together really well. It was like a short project, but like it was received really well. Me and you finally got to work on something, and that's still like a fan favorite, man. Mm-hmm. Talk to Me, everybody loves that song. So but yeah, I just think I was just in a good creative space, just wanted to try some new stuff, and I feel like ever since that project, it opened up more like creative just more creative like options for me to tap into.
Yeah.
I think it solidified my identity and like kind of like how I'm trying to be portrayed. Obviously I got some new things in the works, but yeah, around that time I just felt like it was a magical time of embarking on this new experimental creative journey.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that was like a year and a half ago. Like it doesn't really feel like it was that long ago, but because I still remember like I think that day that came out, I had to go with my brother to pick up his new iPhone, and I remember being like, oh, the EP's out, like I'm gonna stream it or whatever. I still remember that day, so it's like super weird to think it was that long ago. But yeah, man, I'll put it on record, like, because obviously I've told you, but like I appreciate you even having me a part of that. Like that was a big thing for me. That's still like one of my favorite songs I produced. And obviously just doing work with you was great, and your whole team is very professional in what you guys do and putting things together, and that was a great moment. And yeah, I agree. I think the project was just like a really nice little taste of what you were doing at that time, putting things together, and I continue to go back to that one a lot. That and obviously Blessings, because Blessings, like, that came out later in the summer, I think. And that's just a smash hit. Like that's solidified song. Like that is probably, in my opinion, that's probably your best work, at least as far as like a song goes. So I love that song as well. But you also said like, you're currently doing some stuff as well. So I guess my next question would be, since you moved out to LA, I can only assume that you're taking in a lot of inspiration as an artist, as a writer. So like, what are you doing to kind of channel that energy into what is currently being worked on, songs, project, whatever? Like, what kind of stories can we expect to hear next from you?
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, no, you're definitely right on the money. Being in LA has given me like more life experiences, I guess, and more inspiration. I think before I moved out here, I kind of had like a little creative block, but now, like, it being 4 months, so I feel like now I've kind of soaked up a good amount of life, and now I'm like, my creativity is like back, and I got a lot of stuff to talk about. So yeah, I think just some of the stuff that you guys can expect to hear with some of the new music that's coming out is just like, the whole move to LA. Like, there were certain relationships and things like that that were affected, by the move. So you'll hear me talk about that. And yeah, man, just being more vulnerable. I think I'm gonna be a lot more vulnerable than I've ever been, in my music. So I think just moving to LA has put me in a more vulnerable space, creatively. So I'm definitely excited about the new music that's coming, and I still wanna get some more stuff in with you. And I know you've been sending beats through, so yeah, I'm excited just to see, what organically we come together with. I'm definitely looking forward to, like, us. Not that I'm trying to recreate another Talk to Me, but just the moment. Like, it would just be great to like recreate a similar moment. I guess I'd say.
Yeah.
Because that was just, man, the moment for that song was
special.
Was just so dope, bro.
Yeah,
it was
man.
So dope.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that more probably before we get off here for sure, because I wanna feed you some ideas. But yeah, I think that that's really all you can do as an artist too. Is like, you have to continue to evolve and show more sides of your story. And I think, like, the more artists get known, they kind of feel better about doing it in a way, because they have that core fan base that kind of wants them to tell more of their personal side and their story and things like that. And I think, like, doing that, because that's a big deal for anyone in life, is when they kind of move to a new setting, have to kind of start a new life in a way. There's a lot of different experiences that come out of that, and so you can just put them right back into song, and then when people hear them, they'll know what you're talking about. They'll be able to relate to that in their own way. So
Yep.
I'm looking forward to hearing what that's going to entail. So I think that's going to be great. Have you met anybody, like producers, engineers out there that you've been working with that you didn't know before you moved to LA? Are there any collaborators that you want to shout out on this episode?
Sure. I mean, there's definitely a few producers I've definitely been locking in with. Shout out to my guy Matt. I met him out here. We've been cooking up a lot. Like, he's super versatile. Like, he cooks up like EDM, pop, hip hop, R&B. So me and him got some stuff in the works. So definitely look out for that. And yeah, man. I mean, there's other people as well. It's funny though. I kind of been like working with still like the people from Chicago too. So I still been like working with my same camp. But I have explored a little bit more, people in LA as well. So like a little bit of both. I'm working with some people in Atlanta as well. Shout out to them. Yeah, man. Like, I'm just working with a little bit of everybody. But yeah, man. I'm just excited to keep building with the people out here, and just with the same people I've been working with too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's super great too to have those connections like elsewhere, so you can kind of just still do the thing through email, still do the virtual, collaborations, but also be able to pull up on the studio and just collaborate with people and work with people in person. And I think LA is probably the best place to do it, because, like we said, it's just there's people on every corner. You know what I mean? So as long as you find your team and your collaborators that work well with you, I think it's going to work out great. So that's super awesome to hear. Do you have any like live shows or anything that you're kind of wanting to do soon? I know that last time we talked, there really wasn't any opportunities because everything was kind of closed down. But now there's more opportunities to go do, even if it's like smaller sets, like clubs or coffee shops even. Like, do you have any plans or at least any ideas of wanting to do live performances soon?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely something I've been wanting to get back into. I kind of took a little bit of hiatus. I mean, obviously with COVID and stuff, like like you said, it really wasn't a lot of, everything was like shut down, so it wasn't a lot of options and stuff. But now that like obviously things have opened back up, and now being in LA, that's definitely something I'm planning to get back into. I think I'll really, really kick it back off once like I finish this upcoming project I'm working on. Whenever that's done, I think I'm gonna like really get back with hitting the stage and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, and that'll be great too to just be able to do the new songs and just kind of get to perform those for people, and even like the old EP. You can really like go back on that and just see how people receive that, and just grow your audience too, because just being in that new environment, I feel like all the people who haven't heard your music before, and even if they show up to these like shows and stuff and they're like, I've never heard of this guy, they'll see like the talent, I'm sure of it. So definitely good luck on that, man, and I hope that you end up getting a ton of gigs here very soon, especially when the new stuff drops, and that's super awesome. So last few questions here. We kind of did a rapid fire, but I remember, when we did that first episode, when I asked you, where did you want to be in 10 years? You basically said, still doing your thing as an artist, but you also wanted to be heavily involved in licensing and publishing. And it sounds like that's kind of, working out for you. That's starting to materialize. So I think that's going great. Is there anything else that has been added to the list since that? Like, what is another huge goal of yours that you're looking to accomplish within the next 8 or 10 years or whatever we want to say?
For sure. Yeah, man. No, man. Yeah, it's definitely been like a journey, man, with that. And like, yeah, it's kind of cool to say that some of the stuff on the list is starting to kind of come to fruition. So it's like kind of happening sooner than I expected, but it's great. But yeah, to add to that list, definitely want to cover even more in the sync space, primarily more as an artist. Like now I'm working in the sync space on business side, but now like the goal is to, really, just up it up on the, getting placements and sync and stuff like that. So I've been really like doubling down on just like pitching music, understanding like what music is actually sync friendly, what music actually works for TV and stuff like that. And so now, like, that's just one of the things I've been doing a lot lately, besides just cooking up my project that's coming up later. It's making songs for sync and, like, pitching them and stuff like that. So, yeah, my goal was definitely to really establish my artist brand in the sync space. That's something I want to add to the resume. And, yeah, so that's definitely something that's on the list for sure.
Yeah. Super awesome, man. And like I said, it's great to even see just in the last 2 years what you've done. Very inspiring stuff, and just keep it up, man. So that's awesome.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Do you have any final words of wisdom today for the listeners?
Final words of wisdom. Man, this might be kind of like something that, be like a popular words of wisdom, but LinkedIn will make some stuff happen for you. I got my job in the industry through LinkedIn. So I would say, to anyone that's trying to, you're in the industry, whether it's working in the industry or whether it's like being a writer or a producer or whatever, man, LinkedIn was really like a key for me to get my in. So I'm going to just say that, like, don't be afraid to like really explore LinkedIn and, message some people, like obviously professionally, but, reach out to some people on LinkedIn, expand your network, start with people and you'll be surprised that like by doing that, you could really get your foot in that way as well. So definitely, if you're not tapped into LinkedIn, tap in.
Man, it's super crazy because I literally today, like a few hours ago, I just made a video I'm probably going to post like this week or next week about using LinkedIn as a musician. Wow. Like I just made it, and I was like, yeah, I feel like a lot of people, they don't really, because they think about it more from the business standpoint, like you got to be like suit and tie, businessman, whatever, or you got to be looking for like a normal job. But like if you follow the right, like you said, you follow the right connections and the right people, you'll get different opportunities. Just they'll post them right there for you. Follow the right companies. Yep. So yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's kind of like the slept on social network, because it's really like people don't view it the same as Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or whatever. But I've also met like even local people on there that I've met and collaborated with, and Yeah, I totally agree. This episode is not sponsored by LinkedIn. We just so happen to enjoy using LinkedIn. So yeah, man, totally agree with that. And man, Jeremy, that's all I have for you today, man. I really appreciate it once again. Always, the support and your music and what you're doing. And I'm glad to see you doing your thing in sync now. And like I said, man, just keep up the good work. Keep doing your thing. And obviously looking forward to collabing again very soon.
Man, much love once again, man. Appreciate it. And yes, definitely looking forward to more collaborations and all the stuff we're going to do. So yeah, man, thank you.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 122. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds. And feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.